Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. I'm going to get right to the phones, I promise, but Stephanie's with me, and I can't make Stephanie Riggs wait. And by the way, I'm getting insulted on YouTube like crazy, that saying I need elevator shoes when I go out with her, and that I robbed the cradle. I did not rob any cradle. I am younger than I look. She's older than she looks. Uh-oh.
I am. I'm almost 60, folks.
Okay, so Stephanie, let's talk about our film festival. Listen, here's all we want to say is this. We hear all the bad news about stuff going on in the world, and we have this woman in Colorado who's spreading the good news. In fact, wasn't she in Princeton or where Harvard? Where was she this week with her kids?
They were at Yale with her students competing.
Now listen, she started a school in Africa, and Stephanie went over and visited it and did a lot of video. And we're doing a documentary on it, or we did one. She did it. I edited it. But what is it about?
Which was a tremendous feat, because at one time, Tom was out there making mud and sloshing around. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Trust me, I'm making Foley."
Sound.
And he was recording all these sounds because the sound wasn't quality enough for him. He taught himself Final Cut Pro. And the reason that I'm here is to thank him, because I did this on a wing and a prayer. Yes, I do. You put a lot of time into it.
Talk about the movie.
No, but the point of this show is I'm going to have this Colorado premiere of my film.
She won six awards for
film festivals.
Film festivals, all different kinds of film festivals, and one of them is local, and they're going to be showing it this weekend.
It'll be this Saturday at 3 o'clock at Glory of God Lutheran Church. That's in Wheat Ridge. So just look it up. Tom, maybe you can post some information.
And by the way, this is a little bit of faith, but it's mainly about the school and about the academics.
I think what I want to say is, as Mark has been talking about, Tom's talking about, this is very disturbing watching all of this heartbreak. And this is a response to the genocide in Rwanda, which was I truly the darkest period in certainly this country, in our world history. Nobody really responded to it. But this woman in Colorado, Susan Holleran, went there in 2012. And what she did, she started under a tree with a couple of kids that were left behind after the genocide. And the transformation of this part of the world is so miraculous, but she did it because she wanted to make a difference, because she got tired of seeing all this decimation night after night, hour after hour. And she went there, one woman, and she made a difference, and she kind of pulled all of us in there with her.
But the reason she went there, she was donating money.
Well,
right?
but the reason she went there, Tom, is she asked God, I want to make a difference. Yeah. I don't want to just take up space. And she started donating to this orphanage. It was a scam, but that's not the story. The story is when she went there and she discovered the scam, she saw why God brought her there, and she made a difference. And I think, we keep telling our kids, there are children in this world that don't have anything to eat. I've been watching the coverage like you have about this war. I mean, these children are decimated. They have no school. They have no families. But what do you do after that? And I think our kids can't even comprehend. They're so entitled. They have no idea. But this is another example in a different part of the world. I mean, Americans have no clue how blessed we are. A friend of mine picked up Mother Teresa when she came here for the Pope's visit, and she asked her, Cherry Hills Village, what do you need, Mother Teresa said, prayer for? And she says, oh, we don't need prayer, we're fine. And Mother Teresa shook her head in that town car and said, this is why I always say we have to pray for the Americans. We have to pray for the Americans. We don't know what it's like to have mortar shells over our heads all night, but these kids understand what happens when in 100 days, 1 million people were macheted from people that lived across the street from each other, but they came out the other side. And what I did in this film is I got a Colorado family. You can't believe their cell phones that wake them up and their breakfast menus versus what these kids in Rwanda have to do and how far they have to walk. And I want you to bring your kids to this film because I want them to open their eyes. Until you go to these parts of the world, and I spent so much of my time at CBS going to these places, you can't understand it. So I hope that I'm saving you the trip to go to Rwanda, although I highly recommend you go there with your kids, to Hope Haven, Rwanda, and you come to Glory of God Lutheran Church this Saturday at 3 o'clock and bring your kids. I think it's going to open their eyes.
But we will put up some links afterwards that you can see
Okay, that'd be
online
great.
too.
And then, Tom, one other thing, just because I promised some of my friends, if you want to donate and you want to get involved in your community, maybe you're into the military, maybe animals are your thing, there's going to be a weekend of action November 9th through the 12th. I want you to go to projectourtown.org. ourtown.org and see where your services can be used. So many people are sitting around wanting to make a difference because they feel so helpless with the news. This is a resource for you. And thanks for letting me.
And by the way,
that
that project you just give out, give it again.
Oh, this one again?
Yeah.
ProjectOurTown.org.
That's more than just this.
Oh yeah, that's all the different nonprofits that you and your kids can get involved with. Get them off their comfortable couches. That's always been my motto with my kid, and I know it's important for your kids to be able to help. That's what we're here for, really, to use our gifts to help somebody else.
So this is the Colorado Christian Short Film Festival, and
Yes.
as I said, if you can't make it, we'll give you a link next week where you can see it. It's Glory of God Lutheran Church, and that's in Wheat Ridge. And we're plugging this because this school is the most unbelievable thing we've ever seen.
Well, it shows you what one person can do. It doesn't have to necessarily be after a genocide or a war, but there are so many things that we could be doing. I think we get overwhelmed. You know, Mark was just saying, I'm overwhelmed by all this coverage. Well, this is one thing that we can do.
And by the way, this school, after it got started, it is the #1 school in all of Africa, and it has students now here in the U.S. competing on national debates,
Yeah, they
international
went to Dakar, and now they're at Yale University.
For the international
Tom,
debate team.
Tom, you understand that she just made a school for to take the kids through 8th grade. Then they all she produced scholars of the highest order. And then she said, what am I going to do, send them back to the bush? So she built, through these stories that we've done.
A giant high school.
She built a giant high school and a dorm, and now these kids are going on, they're going to go to universities, they're going to compete with our kids, and nobody thought anything like that could happen. So we have to have hope and faith.